Hello and welcome to Last Week in Denmark. I am the host, Golda Fania, and I'm here with Narcis.
Hello.
Have you been? How have you been?
How have you been? I'm actually this time recording from a voting section. We're having Romanian presidential elections this weekend, so I took off for a couple of minutes from there so that we can have our usual weekend conversation, you can say. So I'm looking forward to hear. How are you? Are you back to Europe, by the way?
I am. I'm actually in London, so I'm back home after a lovely trip. And I came back with the sunshine because it's actually been really, really good weather here in London for the past few weeks.
We need some of that in Denmark. Unfortunately, it was very, very sunny for a bit. It was like a teaser, and now it's dreadfully cold again. So that's not great. But, we just hope better times are coming ahead. Yeah, let's see what the future will bring us. So, Golda, what are the 3 topics for today? What are we discussing?
Yeah, you're talking about better times, and I was just thinking about these 3 topics, and I was like, okay. Well, the 3 topics for today's episode is nuclear power is coming back to Denmark after 40 years. I know. Topic number 2 is 6% of scam victims were in 2024, and volunteer wolf patrols will protect the sheep.
Volunteer wolf patrols. Damn.
I know. I think we should just dive into it because I'm really interested about this first topic. After 40 years of hiatus, Denmark is considering its stance on nuclear energy. So as of 2025 April, a Danish investment fund announced that they plan to raise 350 million euros to support the development of small advanced nuclear technology. And also the public opinion about this has actually shifted, with a recent poll indicating that 55% of Danes would approve the construction of nuclear power plants in the country. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking?
I mean, it's interesting because the youth culture in those times, 70s and 80s, was heavily based on this movement against atomic energy. Like the young people from back then, they used a lot of time and a lot of events and a lot of, let's just say, street protests. It was a complete movement, this Atomkraft, NITAC, right? It was a very strong movement, and it led to actually a success, which was banning the atomic energy in Denmark. Of course, he was on the aftermath of several disasters, especially as if you remember the Chernobyl one, and the waste it left behind. It really made people think, okay, is this a technology that we really need to be tinkering with? So I guess it's interesting to see, because those people, the same people that were fighting to get rid of it, a lot of them now are speaking in favor of it when they're in their 60s, 70s now, right? Or even older than that. So it's interesting to see how they shifted, right? From their young age, they fought to ban something, and then in their old age, they fight to remove that ban from it. Of course, this is very much of a ideological divide. You have the right-wing parties, the original right-wing parties. I know these days it's very hard to pinpoint right and left anymore, but the original right-wing parties, Venstre with Conservative, with Moderaterna, they very much on the idea that atomic energy should come back, nuclear energy should come back, while the left-wing parties like the Social Democrats, the Socialists, the Social Liberals, they all are thinking that we should not touch that. We should think more about how to increase the potential offered by wind and solar power, right? So that's always going to be the debate between wind, solar power versus nuclear energy. But of course, technology has evolved a lot. I would say safety of nuclear energy has changed in the last decades. So now it's just a question of, is it safe enough for us to be building nuclear power plants in Denmark? What do you think?
That's exactly my thought. That's why I was like, I don't know how I feel about it right now. Like, are we sure that it's safe enough? And I'm also thinking in terms of like, the climate change and the direction with green energy that we were headed. I'm not an expert, so don't quote me in this, but this is just some of the thoughts that I was thinking in terms of like, how does that align with the agendas that we have for the future? Because I understand that, the choice to go nuclear is to meet the growing electricity demand with the expansion of like data centers and other heavy industries. But is this the most sustainable way? Is this what we would like to do? That would be my biggest question towards this.
I feel like we don't know enough about this yet. I feel like if the debate has started, the political debate has started, but I feel like there needs to be campaigns done to inform the population to understand better what it means for us to say yes to nuclear energy, because I have a feeling that they will probably have to consider a potential referendum. So some parties might suggest, okay, you really want the nuclear energy in Denmark, let's have a referendum on this. So which means that let's see what the population thinks after they have been talking enough about it, after they have been informed about it, to see if this is the right future for us. Because fair enough, as far as I know, nuclear energy has become cleaner, has become safer, and it's a lot cheaper to produce energy and a lot more sustainable than wind and solar, clearly. So the question here is, I think it's more of a psychological block. Are we willing to trust that nuclear energy has gotten to a point where it's a better option than even renewable energies? Or do we still dwell in the past and feeling, okay, once upon a time we used to be very afraid of this energy. Should we continue being so? So that's basically the debate that there is now. I think us as well, we need to start seeing the whole picture before we can take a decision on this. Because it's a little bit abstract. Right now, we build our imagination of nuclear power based on movies, what we have heard from the news, if there was any disasters. We don't really, I don't know you, Golda, but average normal people, they don't read science news. We are not exactly up to date to the latest technological developments or science developments. I don't know you, but are you aware of the latest changes?
So not necessarily in nuclear, but I am a bit of a science nerd, and I think my science updates are more about what's happening in space and are we going to Mars? Are we not? The pictures from space. So I'm a bit more on that side, but I agree with you. The average person is not sitting there reading a science newspaper or updating on science to this level.
Exactly. So then how do we want to know more about nuclear energy when we really, our basic knowledge about it is literally based on like cultural pop. It's literally based on movies.
You're right. Yeah, and that's a call out for all of us. That's probably like a challenge for all of us to really like inform ourselves, especially when like something like this is coming up.
Yeah, and for us in Europe, it's important that we have to consider every option there is. We need to become independent energetically from Russia, but we also have to be ready to not be receiving any liquefied gas from US either. So if we need to stand alone, if we need to stand independent, we must invest as well in nuclear, unless, of course, we find another way. And of course, we have to continue with banning our wind power. We need to continue with expanding our solar power, but we need to really consider nuclear. But then comes another question, Golda. How would you feel if they will build a nuclear power behind your house?
That's the question, see, those are the things. Would I feel comfortable as of now? No, but I may also be misinformed. As you were saying, I don't fully know how quote unquote safe it is. When I hear nuclear, I hear potential danger.
Exactly.
So we'll see what happens on that front, but it's definitely a call for the listeners to make sure that you just go and do a little Google search or ChatGPT to kind of explain what does this actually mean and why does 55% of Danes approve of this?
Yeah, it's interesting how they got to do that. Yeah, for me, it's like an enigma, to be honest.
And that brings us into the next topic, which I literally made a post about here the last week on my Instagram, is digital fraud.
Oh.
Yes. So digital fraud has become a pressing issue in Denmark. According to a 2024 report by the Global Anti-Scam Alliance, 1 in 5 Danes have fallen victims to online scams. And these scams range from phishing emails to fake online stores and more sophisticated schemes involving AI-generated content. And the reason why I made this post last week is because I got a call from quote unquote PayPal and it was clearly, a digital voice. And it wasn't even one of those good AIs. It was like, I know you're an AI telling me to approve of a purchase that I made. And I know I don't use PayPal like that. So I know that was not me. But when I posted it on my Instagram, I was saying that it's not everyone who gets cybersecurity training as we do. At my job, we get cybersecurity training every 3 months because we work with highly classified patient data. So I'm constantly looking out for fake emails and calls like that, but it's not everyone. And I was just thinking about the older generation. I was thinking about people who are uninformed. What are your thoughts? Have you ever fallen prey to scammers?
No. I mean, I'm quite difficult to scam. I would say, because I mean, they're trying their best. Like, first of all, if I open my phone, there are several SMSs that look serious enough. Some can say polity, some can say post-Nord, some they tried with Amazon. They try all sort of companies that feel like, okay, this is company that I might have used or not, and that there is a message with a link always in it. It's very simple to just not press any links that you receive on your SMS. Like, start from that. Literally, I decide that from now on, no matter what, regardless if it's real or not, I will never press on a link on an SMS received on my phone. Point.
Yes,
that's your first thing to do. Right? Second, they're trying to call me multiple times because my number is also used as a company number, and because of that is been taken in many different databases. So they're trying various ways. First, they're trying to say, again, the police one. Some of them try to say they're from the tax authorities. Some of them try to say it's a robot bullshit one that I just close directly. You know, some pretend to know a lot about you, and then you can have found it if you're aware of it. You just have to be always aware to never say yes on the phone, because if they record that yes, like if they manage to make you say yes during the conversation, they'll record that yes, and you will sign several contracts with that. That's all. That's enough. In Denmark, it's a verbal agreement law. So you don't need to actually sign something to be valid. As long as you have said yes to the phone, you're good to go. Then they're trying their best via all my emails. I think there is not even one single email where they don't try to scam me. Now lately, they noticed that we have website from punctum.dk, so they have managed to somehow hide the punctum.dk website. It's from a different website, but it says punctum.dk when I arrive it, and it says that you either have to pay now or your website will fall down, right? And you have to press a link. Again, best thing to do, unless you know it's from a very trusted source, like last week in Denmark, do not press any links that are, email. Like, do not download attachments. That's very important. Do not download attachments before you're very, very certain from who is that. Because just a simple act of allowing an attachment on your computer, that gave you them enough to enter your computer. And then again, if you have a work computer, avoid using any personal social media, personal emails, anything personal search on that computer, because you're just endangering your company, you're endangering the data of your company, because now there's a wave in Denmark where associations are being targeted. So let's say I'm a treasurer in an association, and they find out from the website that I am one. They target me. They target my computer until they manage to get in. Once they got into my computer, from there on, it's just one step away from the account of the association, and then another step away from transferring all the money away from there. That was the latest case in Denmark, right? 1 million kronas were transferred from an association bank account to away. It's because they managed to trick a treasurer, and there's not the only one. A lot of associations are run by volunteers. They don't exactly have money or time for cybersecurity training, let's be honest. So they fall prey for this kind of scams. But have you been scammed, Golda?
Not personally. Like I said, after they tried to call me and I hung up, then they sent me several emails, and now I just delete. I don't even think about like, should I open, should I not? I just delete. I click spam, because I've had a lot of training, as I mentioned. But I do know people close to me who have gotten scammed, who have had fake buyers or fake sellers, and they've sent money and never received their item that they bought, or they have sent an item and never received the money. And the emotional toll for people who go through scams is like, people feel guilty, they feel shame, they're like, how could I? And so I think it's good that we're bringing awareness to this, because I do think it's the responsibility of the public, especially the government, to kind of help citizens with this. And with companies, if you can, please do try to have some type of basic cybersecurity training for your employees. It's becoming more and more advanced. And now with AI being able to clone people's voices, I think we're going to see a lot more.
It's the beginning of this.
Yeah. I think it's going to get even worse. So sorry for the alpha generation. But we really need to train people and help people set healthy boundaries, some of which you mentioned as well.
Yeah, and to be honest, you said about fake buyers or fake sellers. There is also a huge amount of cloned websites, e-commerce websites in the Danish market. So a lot of people buy by mistake from a website that's not real. It happens quite often, unfortunately. And the only one way to protect yourself is to make sure that the website has a CVR number, because in Denmark you're obliged by the law to put the CVR number of your company, the address, the contact person, phone number on the website. All of that needs to be very clear that this is a Danish business. Otherwise, it's bullshit. It's not a real website. So
yeah,
that's an early stage check. It's a very simple check. Check if the CVR is real. Go to cvr.dk. If there was a number listed there, put it there. See what company is that, and then get a feeling of it from that. I think that's the only way to protect yourself, especially from websites you never bought from.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if it's too cheap to be true, it is probably too cheap to be true. It's not that you found someone to fool, because we all try to see, can we find that cheaper somewhere? Can we find that somehow cheaper? And then you have to think, okay, but why will that be cheaper? Because either the producer will sell it directly without an added money on it, or someone will buy it from the producer and sell it. But then if others are selling it at a higher price, why will someone sell it at a much lower price? What's the...
Good question.
Yeah. So you see that you have to be aware that when you search for deals, and when you search for cheaper, there's always a question mark. Everyone who tries to do business, they need to make a margin. They need to make profit. That's the idea of business. Otherwise it doesn't work. So when you get a deal on a product that you know it's probably twice as expensive somewhere else, something is strange. That should trigger all sorts of alarms in your head. It's not just because someone is willing to lose money on it.
I agree.
Why will they do that?
Exactly.
Especially from a website you don't know. Because more or less than often, those offers are from lesser known web shops, that are trying to get to you through their very good Google SEO let's say you write a product name, and then because they're very good at doing Google SEO, you'll see them, right? And then it's up to you to be tricked or not. So that's why I think it's such a huge problem in Denmark, the digital fraud. And as you said, we are in the early stage of cybersecurity threats, although Denmark has raised the alarm level to 4 out of 5 in terms of cybersecurity attacks, not just on private businesses, but also on infrastructure and everything else. So, and private people as well. So the question will be, how much should the person work to get access to your account or to convince you at the phone to make a transfer? Because the harder it is for them to hack you, to convince you, to fool you, then the less inclined they will be to do it. Because they also think like a business person. You know, they have to see, okay, how many resources do I have? This many. Who do I target? This kind of people, or this situation, this tool, this way, to see, okay, if I invest this much, will I get at least more than that to make a profit, to pay my hackers, to make a profit? You know, it's a business, just like any other.
It is. And as we are speaking about protecting yourself, that actually takes us to our last topic, which is that the volunteer wolf patrols will protect the sheep. Interestingly enough, as the wolf population reestablished themselves in Denmark, conflicts between wolves and livestock have arisen. In response, volunteer wolf patrols have been organized to protect sheep and other livestock from wolf attacks. These patrols aim to monitor wolf activity and implement non-lethal deterrent to prevent predation. I kind of like this community approach.
Okay. The whole wolf patrol just sounds funny to me. I mean, I imagine first we started with community patrols, right? Where the neighbors just get together and try to go and patrol the street. And then we have now the night ravens, right? Who go and patrol the street, the party streets for drunk young people to stop them from doing stupid things. And now we finally found another hobby for, did you say outdoorish type, who like maybe, you know, the typical neighborhood patrol doesn't give them enough excitement. So like, hey guys, I heard they allow us now to patrol wolves. And they allow us, if we have a hunting license, to shoot them if we are in danger. So, yay! We can actually walk, not just like we do on the street without any guns. We can do it like in the movies with our gun in the back and feel really cool about it. So I imagine a surge of such local wolf militias, which would probably be another excuse to run away from home and have a drink with your buddies. But you know, that's kind of my expectation, because I mean, yes, there are some farmers who lose some sheep as a price of the wolf population growing. Fine. But at the same time, what will a person, like, I mean, what will they do? Will they be patrolling around the perimeters where there's sheep? Like around the farmers? Around the farms? I mean, how will this work?
That's a very good question. But to be honest, I kind of like that there's a sense of purpose in community, because, you know, there's not a lot to do in Denmark. So this is just one more thing you can add to your volunteering. You know, the last time we were speaking about how many Danes volunteer their time. I think it's cool. And I don't know how it's practically going to be, but maybe they'll collaborate with the farmers and they'll say, hey, I'm taking this night shift so you can rest in peace, not as in dead, but like rest in peace as in sleeping, sleeping, and make sure your food is still there.
I mean, I understand the idea of the community. You're right. That is another way to bring people together. It's another way to create new relationships. And maybe, who knows, if internationals will be joining these patrols, they can make friends with the Danes, with the farmers, and bring people together so we can make a campaign, join the wolf patrols and make a Danish friend. Or you can end up having this little wolf patrols turn into outright local farmer militias. So it's a one step away from militarized insurgents. They start with the wolves. You know that said, first they came for the wolves, and then they came for the socialists, and nobody did nothing. Then they came for the gay, and nobody did nothing. Then they came for us, and there was nobody else to speak out for us. There's a say about this. So now they're going after the wolves, and what I'm afraid of is that in the spirit of defense, they might actually make it extinct again. Yeah, it's not an easy question, to be honest. I mean, I understand why the Danish politicians have rushed and obtained permission from EU to, let's just say, relax the rules around wolf protection, because the wolf is a protected species, because, well, we mostly drove it to complete extinction. I understand why the politicians, especially the ones from the farmer party, from the liberals, from Venstre, have pushed so hard to do something about it. But at the same time, because, people will be complaining all the time, all the farmers will keep calling you, hey, I lost another sheep today, who's going to pay for it? At the same time, we have to understand that, well, the wolf is trying to reestablish its territory. So considering that we're planning to green Denmark, right? We're planning to transform 1/3 of Denmark into forest in the end, right? That's the new plan for Denmark. The plan is that 1/3 of Denmark will be forest. This means a rewilding of Denmark. This means enough space for a wolf population. Or do we want forests that are basically empty so that we can feel safe about it, right? I mean, what do you choose?
We just want some good lamb meat.
It's all about the lamb meat. I get it. Nobody shall take our lamb meat. Lamb meat first. Damn, I never tried lamb meat, to be honest. I don't find it appealing at all. Do you like lamb?
It's one of my favorite. Like lamb cutlet, like...
But it smells.
I don't know what lamb you've been around, but it's so good. It's so good. Like, I will endorse the Wolf Patrol just if they keep the lamb on the table.
So you will drive another species to extinction to protect your desired meat choice.
Okay, they're not just recklessly shooting them. They're protecting our sheep and our lamb.
Yes, our sheep, our farmers' sheep. What if we just, I thought of another way. What if the state just pays off the farmers for the sheep lost? And just the farmer will take on the loss and, increase its herd. Why didn't they think of that?
So you want to raise taxes?
Yes, more taxes is always the solution.
I hear that in you.
I mean, what are you going to do with the money, right? I mean, you either use them for something good for whole society, or you just spend them on stuff like, like vacations and expensive cars. I mean, who wants that?
True. And that's how this episode is coming to an end. And that money you're spending for vacation, I hope you enjoy it on Monday, because Monday is a national holiday. So not sure when you're going to listen to this, but if you do listen to it tomorrow, which is Sunday, then maybe on Monday you'll be chilling with us in your ears and enjoying sunshine. We hope so.
Is Monday a national holiday? Why?
Yeah, it's Denmark's Befrielsesday. It's like our May 5th.
Okay, but it's not a free day, right? Like you don't get free day from work, do you?
Oh.
It's just like a celebration. Yeah.
Okay. I really thought it was a national holiday.
No,
because it's Liberation Day. Okay. I thought it was a public holiday.
No, they didn't do it because, religion has taken all those slots a century earlier. So it's just it's a celebration. People's market. They put lights in the windows, but it's not a free day. It's a normal working day.
Okay, it's actually a holiday in the UK. So
Wow.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, guys. I
No, we also didn't
apologize.
have 1st of May. I know many Europeans had 1st of May in their respective
Yeah.
lands, but
Yeah.
we didn't have 1st of May either.
Oh. Well,
No.
anyway, still celebrate the Liberation Day with Last Week in Denmark in your ears.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Golda, for the very nice conversation for today, and I'm looking forward to our next episode together. And see you, everyone.
Bye.